All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praises and glories unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Harachak Double honors to our apostles, the bishops, the elders of the great millstone who teach, guide, and rule well. And greetings, salutations, blessings, much love unto you, hopeful elect. Shalom unto you. Your bro Shaquat with a quick video. This will be straight to the point. And I'm going to start here in Romans 2. And basically, the inspiration for this is just about why we keep the law, though we're not saved by the law. Okay, well, I forgot a precept that just came to mind. Let me grab it first. Okay, Romans chapter 8, and I'm going to start at start at 1. It says, there is therefore no condemnation to them that are in Hamashiach Yahushai, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life in Hamashiach Yahushai hath made me free from the law of sin and death. And that's what the law pretty much taught. It taught us how to sin, because if the law gave us a standard or a boundary, to cross it was sin and death. Let me get something right quick. I also forgot to pull up. All right, this is 1 John chapter 3, I started verse 3. It says, and every man that have this hope. And what is that hope? In salvation, right? In himself purifieth himself, even as he is pure. Whosoever committed sin transgresseth the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. Okay? All right, so that's establishing transgressing the law is sin. So this is part of why we, to the best of our abilities, rehearse the righteous acts of the law. Now let me get this one. Okay. Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter, is beautiful how the Spirit works, right? I had these in mind, but they kind of slipped my mind. I was like, I can cut it on and just go. And they came to mind through the Spirit anyway. Call all y'all about Shem Yahshua. It says, verse 17, for the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline. It's talking about wisdom, right? And the care of discipline is love. And love is the keeping of her laws. And the giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption, which makes you pure. All right. And incorruption maketh us near unto the Most High. So you see how keeping the law makes you pure, because it's just wise, man. It's just wisdom to be with incorruption, and that incorruption maketh your heart pure, and your heart pure maketh you near unto the Most High. Okay. And so that's the purpose. All right. All right. So now we're in Romans 3, because this is what a Christian or somebody may ask you about the law. Like, we're not under the law no more, right? Yeah, it's not that we're not under the law anymore. It's that we're not justified unto salvation by the law anymore. Okay, and it's really your faith that saves you. Okay, so here we are in Romans 3. I'll start up at might as well start 19 now. Now we know that what things soever the law said is said to them that are under the law, and who was given the law? The Israelites. So even the Gentiles and the Greeks and so on and so forth that were given these laws in the New Testament, it was still talking about Israelites. And those are the scattered Israelites, and I'll keep it at that. It says that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before the Most High. Therefore, by the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight. Okay, for by the law is the knowledge of sin, as I was saying. Okay, so now we know where that boundary's at. And when Jake crosses it, knowingly or unknowingly, and a lot of times we cross it, especially in the wicked world like we're living in 2024. Okay, you cross that line just by nature. Now your flesh just leads you to cross that line, but when you guide your spirit in that discipline and all those things I read in Romans the 6th, Wisdom of Solomon the 6th chapter, that makes you near unto the Most High. It purifies you by trying to, it purifies you in a sense of, how do I want to say it? In a sense of, you're not as dirty. Okay, you see what I'm saying? It's one thing to have on a dirty T-shirt, that's just filthy, covered in mud and grime and oil and grease and food and ketchup and whatever else on it. But then when you've cleaned up some of that, the shirt's not as bad. Okay, though it's still dirty. Okay, which goes down to the 23rd verse. I'll read down to it, but it's not as bad as somebody that just don't care to even put a bib on, or just trying to keep yourself clean to some degree. All right. It says, but now the righteousness of the Most High without the law is manifested, being witnessed by the law and the prophets. Good point. Even the righteous, because not everybody throughout the scriptures walk perfectly. We know only Yahweh Shai actually walked perfectly. Okay, all the other people fell short. All right. It says, all the righteous men, I'm saying, fell short. It said, but now the righteousness of the Most High without the law is manifested, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of the Most High, which is by faith of Hamashiach Yahushai unto all and upon all them that believe, for there is no difference. Okay? For all have sinned and come short of the glory of the Most High. Okay? So we were never perfect in the law. Okay? So how do we get back to him? Well, that propitiation of Yahweh Shai was initiated with his blood. Okay? It says, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, right? Whom the Most High have set forth to be a propitiation, it says it itself, propitiation through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are past through the forbearance of Yahweh. To declare, I say, at this time, his righteousness, that he might be just, and the justifier of him that believeth in Yahweh Shai. Okay? And so we know the law is righteous, man. It's just good. But we just can't keep it perfectly because we're subject to sin, okay? These chains of darkness, this flesh, okay? To declare, I say, at this time, righteousness, that he might be just, and the justifier of him that believeth in Yahweh Shai. Where is boasting then? It is excluded. By what law? Of works? Nay, but by the law of faith. Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Is he then, is he the God of the Jews only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also. Those are Israelite foreigners as well. And that breakdown goes throughout Great Millstone, and I'm not going to break it down in this video. Okay, but those are Israelite foreigners, goes into Helen and Hellenistas and all of those things. Okay, it says, seeing it is one God which shall justify the circumcision by faith and uncircumcision through faith. Okay, because neither could keep it perfectly, as it was said in this chapter. Here's the point. Do we then make void the law through faith? Yahweh forbid. We establish the law. Okay, so we make sure that we establish keeping it, because it keeps you incorrupt and keeps you nearer unto the Most High, getting your mind right, okay, with good works. All right, real quick, Romans 6 is one I didn't have on the list, but I'll read it. Romans 6:1. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin? Just don't care and break the law, that grace may abound? Yahweh forbid. How shall we that are dead to sin, meaning sin can't kill us? It can, but sin can't. What's the word I want to use? I don't want to say it. We're dead to sin. Let me read it again. Yahweh forbid. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Yeah, we know about it. We see it, and we're already dead by it. Okay, because our bodies are subject to it. How could we continue to live that way? In a nutshell. All right. And it tells you right here, know ye not that so many of us as were baptized into Yahweh Shai Mashiach were baptized into his death? All right, because it covers the Israelites. All right, starting with the first fruits, and then on to the whole, to everybody else. Um, this is now First Timothy chapter 1, right? Um, yeah, I like this. It says, um, now the end of the commandment is charity out of a pure heart, and that's that pure that we're talking about. How do you purify yourself? With stand by being disciplined into incorruption, as I mentioned in Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter, right? By rehearsing the laws, okay, keeping the laws, being cleaner. As the things you can clean up, you should clean up, okay. If you have an option between a pork chop sandwich and a turkey sandwich, you should choose the turkey every time. Ham and whatever, right? It says, and of a good conscience and of faith unfeigned, okay, and that's the point, okay, and of a good conscience, meaning your mind is better, your conscience is clear because you're not breaking the law and you're doing the righteous thing by faith, okay. It says, from which some having swerved have turned aside into vain jangling, desiring to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say nor whereof they affirm. Okay, point coming. It says, but we know that the law is good if a man use it lawfully. Yeah, if you're using it to keep yourself pure and incorruptible. Are we going to be pure? No. We're going to fall short of the glory. Okay, our righteousness is as filthy rags. The things we do, we still fall short. Okay? Every man falls short down here. Okay? It says, knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man. And what's the difference? A man of a righteous, pure-minded heart. Okay? That has the proper intentions, that are doing things for the right reasons, that are doing it unto charitable works. Okay, of a good conscience. Right? And it says of faith unfeigned. Faith unfeigned. Okay? Let me get that in another translation. This is 1 Timothy 1 and 8 again in the NLT. We know that the law is good when used correctly, for the law was not intended for people who do what is right. It is for people who are lawless and rebellious. Okay? Let me start up. Yeah. Verse 5 says, but the purpose of my instruction is that all believers would be filled with love that comes from a pure heart, a clear conscience, and genuine faith. Okay? Genuine faith. You're not just doing it because this is what it looks like, but this is actually what it is and how pure it comes off. This is just what you naturally understand, that this is what I should be doing, whether it was natural unto you or that it was something that you realize and now you've adjusted your life to, meaning you repented and now that you do the righteous thing. Okay, but you do it for the righteous reason, right? It says, but some people have missed this whole point. They have turned away from these things and spent their time in meaningless discussions. Okay? They want to be known as teachers of the law of Moses, but they don't know. And in this time, you got to know, in the ancient world, the position of a lawyer, so to speak, okay, a teacher of the law of Moses, it was a prestigious position. Okay, you have status with that. Right? I said, but they don't know what they're talking about, even though they speak so confidently. And then it goes into telling you about do as they say, not as they do, because some will tell you what to do, but then they don't do it themselves. There's one that teacheth many, but is unprofitable to himself. Okay, just to quote those. All right, now let me go back to the KJV. Well, it's right here on the left. It says, verse 9, knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and the disobedient, for the ungodly and for sinners, for unholy and profane, and for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, okay, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. Okay? According to the glorious gospel of the blessed power, which is committed to my trust. Okay? Point being, is for those that are overtaken and they need to know literally where the boundary is at. That's why it was an unwritten thing. It was just a natural thing before the Adam, serpent, Eve whole situation. Men just walked in, the Adamites. They just did what they were, as nature would have it for us to do. And then Eve went into the knowledge of, ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, as she was tempted by the serpent, so on and so forth. Adam ate it, and now here we are. But that when Moses went up to Mount Sinai, he wrote those because we were so far from that natural culture of righteousness that we were originally created with. Okay, because we were put in the sinful flesh. And then now that knowledge of sin created a boundary that we would want to break and see what would happen if we crossed it, to say it that way. Okay, and now this is what happens when you cross it. Okay, so now that is so deeply rooted within us, we have to now, how do I say, chip away or carve away or sculpt away all that unrighteousness and get down to the purity of the situation, man, of who we truly should be. Okay, and back to who we were intended to be. Okay, and so when a man can't get over some of his fleshly, carnal ways, that's why the law is written, where he can see, okay, don't eat this, don't do these acts, don't be this way, don't speak like this. Okay, do this instead, do this righteousness, do this unto your brother. Treat your wives like this. Treat your fellow brother. Honor the Most High in this fashion. Okay, so it's just, it had to be written literally for Jake to see it. Okay, because Jake was making up like they do now. Jake make up their own level of righteousness now. All right, so moving on from there. Okay, and this was special about the Israelite foreigners, or those so-called Gentiles, or and it's going to say here, Romans 2:12, for as many as have sinned without the law shall also perish without the law. And as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. Right? And it says, you offend in one, you offend them all, right? It says, and as many as have sinned in the law shall be justified by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before the Most High, but the doers of the law are justified. Okay, so this action, you still have to be justified by your actions. You have to try, man. You have to fight. Okay, you can't just give in, man, and just do what the people do. All right, you have to do what is righteous in the sight of the Most High, and that's where the Christian fails, because they don't want to even go into the deeds of the law, and then they make excuse why they can't keep any of the law, why they don't have to keep any of the laws, keeping it off themselves instead of saying, you know what, I can keep this one. I can wear a beard on my face. I can not eat shellfish. I can not eat pork. I don't have to sleep with the next man's wife. Okay, so on and so forth. It says, and here's a good point in verse 14. For when the Gentiles, which are Israelite foreigners, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law. Okay, do by nature, and this is the natural purity the natural conscience that we should have within us. Okay, and some of those righteous souls of the Israelite foreigners, all right, that are scattered, some of them have that in them, and they don't commit certain sins. Okay, that's why it says here, I read it again, 14. For when the Gentiles which have not the law, that they wasn't raised in the culture of the law. Okay, but they do by nature the things contained in the law. These having not the law are a law unto themselves. Okay, so as it says, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness. Okay, they just don't feel right about sleeping with the next man's woman. It's just not. I just not in my spirit to do that. I just never liked pork. There's something about it. It just wasn't my thing. Shrimp just was never really my thing. Some people you meet like that. Okay, though you'll see, um, other people of that same nation or same people, just gobble it down and think nothing of it. But this individual it just didn't vibe with them. Okay, so and their thoughts, the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. Okay, let's jump down. And knowest his will and approvest the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law. And the law is to instruct us. Okay, it says, and art a confident, and art confident that thou self art a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness. And this is by the example, being an example unto the flock. Okay, knowing what the law says, not keeping it, and then being able to give that instruction unto a fellow believer. This is how you don't eat that. Okay, you're not supposed to eat that because the scriptures say it. You're not supposed to do that. Do you do it? No, I don't do it. Okay, and that was in the other books I was reading earlier. Okay, showing that if you were dead to it, how could you live any longer therein? Right? It says, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which have the form of knowledge and the truth in the law. Okay, showing that it keeps you incorruptible, but you are still not saved by it. Okay. It says, 21, thou therefore which teachest another, teachest not thyself. Here we go. It's going to say it itself. Thou that preachest a man should not steal, does thou steal? Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, does thou commit adultery? Does thou abhor idols? Does thou commit sacrilege? Though thou makest thy boast of the law, through breaking the law, discouragest thou the Most High? Dishonorest thou the Most High? But you're supposed to be the knowledgeable one in the law. Yeah, so we know that I can't sit up here and push law, 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 law. Keep the law, keep the law, keep the law to everybody knowing that I'm imperfect in the law. You break one, you've broken them all, right? And we all fall short of the glory. But we can instruct you to keep it because it's better for you to the best of your ability. You're going to fall short. But it's the faith in you keeping it that's the difference. Okay? All right, this is James chapter 2 now. All right? Matter of fact, let me grab something real quick. 2 Edges 9 and 7. And everyone, this is the salvation scripture right here. It says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works. Okay? And this is going to bring you back into James. By his works, the works of the deeds of the law. By the righteous things out of a good, pure conscience, out of a pure, out of a good conscience, out of a pure heart. Okay, is what you, out of charity. Okay, that you move in faith. Okay, shall escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. Shall we establish the law, because the law is good. We know that the law is good to them that use it lawfully. Okay, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Let's jump over to the 16th chapter. And to the bottom, it's like 60. Yep, 67. 2 Edges 16, verse 67. Behold, the Most High himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. Okay? To be incorruptible, to be clean, at least cleaner, not pure, yet will become pure when we're initiated into the second covenant. Okay? When we put on those white robes and give them those crowns. Okay? It says, to meddle no more with them forever, so shall the Most High lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. All right, now let's go back. Back in James 2, it says, yea, a man say, thou hast faith and I have works. show me thy faith without thy works. Okay, how do you do that? It says, and I will show thee my faith by my works. Okay, and that's how you show your faith. Well, I know it. I don't have to keep this, but I believe that this is still the right thing the Most High gave us, so I'm going to keep them. And this is where Christians trip up. Okay, a lot of Christians get tripped up right in this situation. They think, oh, well, he came and he was perfect in the law, and we killed him, so now we don't have to do the law. No, that's not how that works. Okay, that doesn't even make sense. Okay, he gave us a law, then he persecuted, the Most High gave us a law of Moses under Mount Sinai, and then we never kept it perfectly. We went through all kinds of captivities. Then he sent his only begotten son down, and he was perfect in the law. And then we killed him for calling us out on how we didn't even try, basically. Okay. Even though he was doing miracles showing that he was the one to listen to, because he had the right way that connected to the words of the Most High and had the spirit of the Most High on him. We killed this guy. Okay, I'm saying it this way. We killed Yahushua, and then now we have the license to just do whatever the hell we want, and we're saved. That's not how that works, man. You don't. So why wouldn't he just allow us to do whatever the hell we wanted? Why give us the law in the first place? Why have a standard of living in the first place? It doesn't make sense. When he set up the standard of living, he gave it unto the Israelites. Okay, and when he gave that unto us, we agreed to live by that way and keep that agreement. And if we didn't, there would be curses, and if we did, there would be blessings. Deuteronomy 28 chapter. All right. Continues on. It says, verse 22, I'm jumping around. I got them highlighted. Seeing thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect. Let's read it again. Seeing thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect. Okay, see then how that by works a man is justified, and not by faith only. Okay, you also have to prove your faith, you also have to show your works. They go hand in hand. Okay, I have faith that I'll make it to the NBA. Okay, so just because I believe that I'm supposed to go, or do I actually have to put the work in? I actually gotta go run and lift and train and stretch and shoot the shots and work on this and grow and sleep and rest and be disciplined and all and so on and so forth. Man, it takes all the things, the physical counterpart as well. Just because you in your mind believe I can do this doesn't mean you can do it. You have to go out and prove that you can do it. You have to put the work in that leads to perfecting it. Okay? And like I was mentioning earlier, we agreed to these things and we were given this righteous way. Let me go to it, which is in Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, start at verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord Yahweh my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. Because the law was given unto us, so now we know how the wise action to do in every situation. And that's really what the law is. The right thing to do in every situation. It's just a written form of the right thing to do in every situation. Okay? And it was to be in the sight of the nations, where they looked at, it's going to say it, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Okay? They should be able to look at us and be like, wow, they live better. They have more. What is it? Is it the way they live? It's the culture that they live by. That culture is that law. Okay? And it's the difference between us and all the heathen. All right? And that law was given to make a difference of separateness, if you will, or holiness, if you will, that the Most High gave unto his chosen people. All right, it says, verse 7, for what nation is there so great who have the Most High so nigh unto them, as the Lord Yahweh our power is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments, which is the law, so righteous as all this law. Okay, it's so righteous because it's the right thing to do in all situations. The law set that up for us, and it gave us it literally. Okay, on stone tablets. But because we couldn't do it because of these bodies of sin that we're in, okay, we fell short. So now it's the mind first that we have to clean up, not just the deeds. It's the mind first that we have to clean up. And then the deeds, once our mind is clean, the deeds will follow. And then we have the instruction. Okay? We have the instructions on how to keep that clean and how to make ourselves clean by the law. It was so we can we okay now have a good conscience towards the Most High and towards your fellow neighbor, not trying to supplant each other and yiquab each other and you know and lie in wait for each other and covet after each other's things. Okay, we don't have to do that. Okay, and the law became, as Lord willing, I'll get it, a schoolmaster, basically a teacher unto us on how to be that way. All right, on the literally how to learn that. All right, it says, only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently. Okay, and that's the thing. And you should know that the soul and the body and the spirit equals the soul. So your spirit is one way, and then your body's another way that wars against each other, and that's the type of soul you have. Okay, it says, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. And we're nearly at that point where it has departed from us. Okay, so now the Spirit has been given unto us to do these things again. Okay, the water to Elijah. Okay, so on and so forth. John the Baptist, the water, man. Okay, all the way down to who we have faith in that brought it back to us again in these times. All right, that we can be brought back to the physical keeping of the law when the Spirit came upon us. Okay, and here we are today. So let me get this. Galatians chapter 3, and I'll close unless the Spirit give me something else. Galatians 3:21, is the law then against the promises of Yahweh? Yahweh forbid, for if there had been a law given which could have given life, verily righteousness should have been by the law, instead of knowing the knowledge of sin that came from it. For us, if the knowledge of sin came from the law in these sinful bodies. Okay, but the scripture had concluded all under sin, that the promise of faith, promise by faith of Hamashiach Yahushua might be given to them that believe, and then the works follow after the belief, right? The faith and works where thou hast believed, right? It says, but before faith came, we were kept under the law, shut up unto the faith which should afterwards be revealed. We still believe there will be a kingdom of heaven that we can attain, though we fell short of the law. How could we ever get to that status? When you read into Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, the first 14 verses, in that chapter, that's describing the kingdom of heaven conditions, man. The righteousness that everything our hearts desire would be given unto us. Okay, if we kept the law perfectly, which we fell short of that. Okay, therefore the curses came. All right, but we still believe that condition had to be achieved at some point. Okay, and that's why it says, shut up unto the faith which should afterwards be revealed. Okay, and then not understanding in that time that Yahushua's blood had to be given and his perfection, and then the rehearsal of this faith, had to come in these times. All right, it says 24, which was the main point, said, wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Hamashiach, that we might be justified by faith. Okay, we should just have a righteous mind toward one another, toward the Most High, toward ourselves, toward everything that we approach in life. If we have a pure, righteous mind towards it, toward the heathen, everything, okay, we wouldn't have needed a written law, okay? We wouldn't be under these curses. But being in this sinful flesh, we tend to go off. So now we needed all these other things, okay? We needed this other situation that we could be an understanding of how we should be moving toward one another. All right. It says, but after the faith is come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster. Okay, because no matter how intently we learn the law, we can't keep it perfectly. Okay, but it is still a guideline that we keep. And I'll go back to Romans, the 3rd chapter, which goes back to the point, right? It says, do we then make void the law through faith? Yahweh forbid, yea, we establish the law. So we keep the law by faith, okay, to make us incorruptible to the Most High and make us near unto the Most High. Matter of fact, I do have one more. So I'm in Wisdom of Solomon, the 1st chapter. And this is kind of the mind that we should naturally have and why we fall short. Okay. Yep. It says, I'll start one, I'll read down through 5 or so. It says, love justice, you rulers of the world. And the Israelites are really the rulers of the world. Okay. We're Zion, we're the monument of the Most High on earth. Okay, it says that's what we're intended to be. Now we're the laughing stock of the world. We're the lowest of the low on the earth right now, under these curses. But this is a sign of the prophets coming back, and the prophecies being fulfilled are a sign of the turning of that. All right, it says, love justice, you rulers of the world. Set your minds sincerely on the Lord and look for him with all honesty. Those who do not try to test him will find him. He will show himself to those who trust him. Dishonest, and this is getting to the point, dishonest thoughts separate people from the Most High. And if we are foolish enough to test him, his power will put us to shame. Wisdom will never be at home with anyone who is deceitful or a slave of sin. Okay. Everyone who is holy has learned to stay away from deceitful people. Holy, separate, right? From deceitful people. He will not stay around when foolish thoughts are being expressed, right? He will not feel comfortable when injustice is done. All right, let's get it in the KJV. Straight to the point, verse 3. For froward thoughts separate from the Most High, and his power when it is tried, reproveth the unwise. For into a malicious soul, okay, if you're not purifying yourself, you're just given to sin, wholly given to sin, okay. It says, for into a malicious soul, wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin. So you have to clean yourself up, and that's your faith. That's part of the faith in this thing. And it's going to make you an outcast. He that turneth let me get it. Yeah, great chapter. Isaiah 59:14 and 15 is the point. And judgment is turned away backward, and justice standeth afar off. For truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. Okay, so there's no actual value in being righteous, man, because in this world that we're living in, wickedness prevails. Okay, so when you do truth is now what did he say? Truth is now a revolutionary act, right? So when you speak truth, I think that was in Big Brother 1984, something like that. But it was a saying from back in the day. But anyway, forgive me for not grabbing it. But the point is, 15, yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. Okay, so when you leave, you get persecuted. So a lot of people just give in, but it's an act of faith that we depart from evil by rehearsing the righteous acts of the law, and through faith we believe we'll be saved even with our imperfection of the law. Okay, so that's why we still keep the law. We establish the law, right? To wrap it up, it says, and the law saw it, and the Lord Yahweh saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment, no righteous judgment in the earth. You know, and it is a frustrating thing, okay, to see that you do the right thing. It says no good deed goes unpunished. Okay, this world will punish you for doing the right thing. Okay, so we, through faith, we continue to do those right things until wisdom has tried us and can trust us, and then we'll begin to see how wisdom will come back and comfort us, man. So, and it's just wise to be to rehearse the righteous acts of the law. So don't let a Christian try to talk you out of it, or one of these off-brand Hebrew Israelites that believe the law is the end of all things. Okay, but the law is a very important thing that we do. Okay, that we rehearse. You can't just give in to things that you can control. There's some things that you can't, and that's what prayer is for. Asking for forgiveness is for. Okay, so with that, Lord willing, this was edifying, giving all praise and glories unto Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rachakodash, double honor to our apostles, the bishops, the elders of the great millstone, and greetings, salutations, blessings, much love unto you, hopefully elect to the next one. Shalom.